This is Lesson 3, Gravity, part of the first grade Physics of Movement unit. Today, students are going to talk about gravity and learn about it through some different experiences. The lesson starts with students making a zoomer, or a toy that involves movement. For this, they will need a partner, 2 pieces of string, and a pipe. The students will thread the string through the pipe, and then standing across from each other holding the string, the students will need to find a way to get the piece of pipe to move from one student to the other quickly. You'll want to give them some time to explore different ways of making this happen so that they have a chance to really experience it and feel it themselves. Hopefully students will quickly determine that with one partner pulling their hands apart while another partner is putting their hands together quickly, that will force the pipe quickly from one student to the other. They may need a little time before they come to this and may need a little prompting. After that, give them the opportunity to continue to experiment with that so that they can feel how the more force they're applying in that, the faster they're able to make that pipe move between the two of them. Again, really giving them a chance to feel these concepts that they will be talking about. In the next part of the lesson, you're going to introduce the concept of gravity and the vocabulary behind it. You'll want to start by getting their attention by dropping a heavy book. If you're feeling especially theatrical, you can act very surprised and confused that this happened. Do it with a few different objects in the room, and then ask the students what's happening. Why are these objects falling? Why don't they just stay in the air when I let go? This gives you a chance to start the discussion by really finding out what prior knowledge your students have about gravity, whether it's a concept they're familiar with the vocabulary for, or how much background you're going to need to give them on this. Once you've had a good discussion about gravity, you want to talk about what effect gravity has on bubbles, something that students normally think of as floating, but you can demonstrate by blowing a bubble and letting students see that it actually will fall with gravity as well, just obviously not as quickly as that book you dropped before. As students have had a chance to talk about this, then talk about what your students could do to help that bubble resist gravity. Allow them some time to talk with partners. They can record their ideas as well. And then we're going to give them the opportunity to test this out. You'll pass out straws to the students and have them blow bubbles and have them experiment with the force of blowing the air against that bubble to help that bubble resist gravity. And then follow up with a discussion of the different forces that were in play, the force from their air as well as the force from the gravity that was pulling the bubble down. The last part of this lesson introduces our next lesson on the vehicle design challenge. You'll start with pages in the student workbook that look at different vehicles and the different things that they do in order to work against gravity. You'll want to have a discussion with this as the students have matched up the vehicles. Then you'll want to talk about vehicle design and let students know that they're going to have a challenge coming up where they're going to design a vehicle with some materials where it will go down a ramp, and then they want to see how far they can make it go. Today they won't actually be building. They'll be examining the different materials, talking about different ways they can turn them into vehicles, and starting to sketch ideas. So that the next lesson they have the maximum amount of time for actually building. You'll want to make sure at the conclusion of today's lesson, each student has at least one sketch for one thing they will be ready to start with in Lesson 4.